Hi guys, this is the last segment on quadratics, and so far we've been looking at how to factorize quadratic equations, trinomials, and then how to use the null factor law to find the solutions of x. Now we can cut to the chase and actually speed up the process and find the solutions of x by using the quadratic formula. Okay. So rather than going through the factorizing steps, we have our formation of ax squared plus bx plus c. We equate that to 0 to find the solutions. But essentially, we're solving for x, so what better way than to rearrange this whole structure to have x equals something, okay? Because that's what we're wanting to find. Rather than going through the whole steps of how to rearrange it, I'll tell you what the end product is. It's minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. That's divided by 2a. Okay, so that's our quadratic formula. What I'll also do is go through 3 examples to show you how to use this formula. 1, 2, and 3. But there's also something that I want to show you. This part here, b squared minus 4ac, that little component is called a discriminant. And what that helps us to do is to actually see if an equation actually has any solutions. Maybe it has one solution, maybe it has 2 solutions, maybe it has no solutions at all. Okay, and we use this formula or this component of the quadratics formula to actually find out. Okay, so let's start with the first one. I'm going to go through each of them and show you the discriminant and how it works as well. Okay, first one is going to be x squared plus 5x minus 3, and we'll equal that to 0. So a, if we referred it to this formation above, a is 1, b is 5, and then c is negative 3. Let's substitute it into this formula where x will equal negative b, so if b is 5 here, so negative 5 plus or minus the square root. Now b is 5 and we want to square that, so 25 minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 3. Okay, divide that all by 2 times a, and here a is 1. Okay, if we simplified this whole equation, we'll have minus 5 plus or minus the square root of, now here we go, 4 times 3 is 12, so 2 negatives becomes a positive, 12 times 1 is just 12, and then 25 minus 12 is going to be 13. Okay, so I made my square root a bit too long, but that's okay. So 2 times 1 is 2, and what we'll have is 2 solutions, which is minus 5 plus square root of 13 over 2, or minus 5 minus the square root of 13 over 2. Okay, so that works out really, really well. Now, let's look at the discriminant and how we can test it. So discriminant is going to be b squared. So basically, like I said, whatever this part is in here, so we can cut to the chase here and we know that it's 13. So it's 13. And because this is greater than 0, we want to know that this number is always greater than 0. If your discriminant number is greater than 0, then it has 2 solutions. This is a really good way to just check if this equation is possible, if it does provide a solution or not, and we'll show you what the other two look like. Okay, example number 2. We have 2x squared minus 3x plus 4, and by looking at this equation, a equals 2, b equals -3, and then c equals 4. Now, looking through this, maybe I don't want to go through all of this. Maybe I just want to check how many solutions it has. This is a good checking procedure if you've done it right. So, discriminant is b squared. B is -3, so -3 squared is 9, minus 4 times a is 2, times c is 4. Okay, minus 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 2 is minus 32, so minus 32, if we just took it one step at a time, and then lastly we have -23. The difference here is, with the first example, the discriminant is greater than 0. It's a positive number. So if positive, it has 2 solutions. Okay, that's another way of looking at it. If it's greater than 0, it has two solutions. If it's a positive number, it has 2 solutions. In this case, it's negative. Alright, so if discriminant is less than 0 or negative number, then it has no solutions. Okay, so is it worth going through it and checking it out? Possibly not, but I'll do it just to show you how it doesn't work. Okay, so A, B, and C. If I substitute all these values into this equation, we'll have x equals 3 plus or minus 9 minus 4 times 2 times 4, okay, divided by 2 times a, and 2a is 4. Okay, now we already know that this component becomes -23, so 3 plus or minus the square root of -23 over 4 is our final answer, but it is impossible to have the square root of a negative number. Okay, so cannot square root a negative number. Therefore, no solutions. Okay, so here we have the discriminant being less than 0 or negative. That's a quick way to find out if this question has a solution or not. Third and final example is going to be this one here. We have x squared plus 6x plus 9, and we're going to equate that to 0. Okay, let's have a look here again. Our discriminant is going to be b squared. B is 6, so 6 squared is 36, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 9. Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4, and then 4 times 9 is 36. And don't forget that it's -36. 36 minus 36 is 0. Okay, so let's go 36 minus 36, and it equals 0. Because then if it equals 0, here's another case. If the discriminant is 0, then it only has one solution. Okay, So let's put that into practice and you'll see why that's the case. So A is equal to 1, B is equal to 6, C is equal to 9. Let's substitute all these values back into our quadratic formula. We have x equals negative b, so negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 1 times 9 divided by 2 times a. 2 times a is 2. We have, if we simplify it, we know that the square root of this is 0. We've done that bit already. So minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 0 divided by 2. Now, anything with 0, we know that this just then gets eliminated. There's no point. So what you'll have is x will equal negative 6 divided by 2. Simplify that fraction, x is minus 3. So what we have here, guys, is one solution. Okay? One solution. I hope that has helped you. Quadratic formula, looking at what the solutions of x is, using the discriminant to check how many solutions each of the equations should have. If the discriminant is greater than 0, or as a positive number, has 2 solutions. If it's negative number or less than 0, it has no solutions. And if it equals 0, then it only has one solution. Have fun, guys. See you later.